Hello, everybody. How are you guys doing this morning? This is the Painting Dad, and I am here to paint some more minis. So, as I am normally doing, Poninator and Model Madness, welcome. Welcome into the stream. I am going to jump into some stuff here. Let's see. Alright. So, yesterday, hey Raja, good morning. We concluded with the World Eaters. So we are on to some vampire counts. We started on these bats. There's a lot of like washes and contrast paints, so we weren't able to do much more than that yesterday. I did glue little shale rocks on their base to add a little bit of texture to their basing. But today we're going to try to finish up these 3 fell bats. I did basically finish up the wolves last night. Some things I did, I think it was last night. Yeah, I highlighted the bone a little bit. So the bone kind of sticks out a little bit in the paint scheme. And then I also, I put white in their eyes and put some Hexwraith Flame in there. And that's all the wolves. So I think the wolves are basically done. I'm happy with them. They're really good, like, tabletop standard. We'll get them based and see how they look and see if we want to do any more to them. But yeah, that's what we got going. And we got this little guy here. This is probably my favorite. His poor intestines are hanging out, and he's got a little birdie eating him. So yeah, those guys are basically done. We're gonna try to get to a step where we can base both of these units today, and then I think we're gonna pull out some more minis. Miyadi, how you doing? Yeah, thank you for the compliment on the wolf, by the way. I appreciate that. So, first things first on these minis, we are going to do some dry brushing on these. And I just glued these stones on, so the glue's wet, so we're hoping that dries before. I kind of had that idea last night, and, able to execute today. So, yeah, I figured it's probably better than just big, flat, square bases. We can just add these simple pieces here, and it'll add some good, texture, I guess, something to break up the monotony of the basing. These are miniatures for Warhammer the Old World, which is basically bringing back Warhammer Fantasy Games Workshop. So these miniatures are actually from Age of Sigmar, but yeah, I'm using them. I'm putting on square bases, and use them for the Old World. New to wargaming, looking around, what I want to get into. Oh yeah, that's no problem. Yeah, if you're looking for like the big popular game, you're gonna be looking at Warhammer 40k, Warhammer 40,000. I paint a lot of Warhammer 40k minis. I really like Warhammer 40k. I have nothing against 40k, but I enjoy playing other games as well. So I am working on getting into the Old World, or back into the Old World, I guess, and yeah, just trying to build up this army. I have a lot of miniatures for this army. I just got to paint everything. We're gonna grab one of these wolves here, and we're gonna dry brush a little bit. See what we can do here. What's the difference between the Old World and AOS? Good question. So the biggest difference people will probably see off the bat is circle bases for Age of Sigmar. You don't have to like put minis in base contact with each other when they're part of like a unit or regiment or whatever. And people kind of move freely around. Warhammer the Old World is a rank and file game. So when you have a regiment of soldiers, you actually put them in like a square formation. And there's a lot more like maneuver and like wheeling the formations and trying to get things, lined up and getting flanks on your opponent's units and stuff like that. So that's kind of like the surface level difference. There's differences in the settings. So Age of Sigmar is like a super high fantasy, like, in my opinion, it's like it's super off the wall. Um, so you have just like the craziest, wildest things. Warhammer Fantasy, or like Warhammer the Old World, is Warhammer the Old World's based on Warhammer Fantasy. That is much more like more of a classical fantasy, similar to like Dungeons and Dragons type like level of fantasy, where you have an actual set world. The world can kind of be like analogous to Earth. There are like empires there, and like people kind of travel the world. There's like your humans, elves, dwarves, and a lot more of like a classical fantasy setting. So it's still Warhammer. It's still like ramped up to 11. So there's still some like crazy elements to it. But yeah, overall it's more grounded than Age of Sigmar is. Or if I those are kind of dusty. I'm gonna not bother painting those rocks and see how they turn out without it. Looking into Moonstone, I have heard of Moonstone, but that's about it. I think I've had a couple people show me the minis they've painted for it, but no, I am not familiar with the game or the setting. You said half dozen times. What's the name of the gold you're doing for your Ultramarines? I use well, I was for a long time using Vallejo Liquid Gold. And Liquid Gold is actually a paint line, but the color I use from Liquid Gold is gold. So it's I don't think it's too complicated. I've kind of stopped using that a bit. I might still use it on the Ultramarines. I was using it on my Thousand Suns, and I've stopped because I found alternate, less toxic ways of doing it without losing like the results. But yeah, Vallejo Liquid Gold. And John Locke, how are you doing this morning? Guys, welcome to stream. Thanks for hanging out with me. It is Thursday. If you follow 40K News, there was a review article for Chaos Space Marines this morning again. Following, it's one of the starter boxes, the Battle Force boxes they're coming out with. But they basically mentioned a rule to another detachment coming out. And it was as we suspected, and I kind of feared, which is the Dread Talon detachment or whatever, the one with like the Night Lords detachment. It gives -1 to battle shock within 12 inches. Like that's so lame. That is so lame. I hope they have a bunch of stuff that can stack that, but ooh. Yeah, not a very good detachment rule on the surface. Yeah. Oh, and guys, I want to tell you about another army painter disappointment. So I'm going to talk about that later. Because army painters letting me down. I'm trying to give them some trust here, and they're letting me down. So we'll definitely talk about that. There's a few specific people I want to be in here because I want to talk to them about this, but it does involve army painters speed paint. Okay, and we're getting in with dry brushes. We're just picking out some different places on these minis. We're gonna get to the actual bat here momentarily, because there's definitely a lot of dry brushing with this bat that'll be really interesting. But some last night, couldn't remember what it was. So yeah, that's fair. You can always message me on Discord if you want to, but no, I absolutely don't mind the questions during stream. That's fine. If I didn't like answering the same question 50 times, I would not be streaming anymore. All right. feel like it just happens. Like people ask me questions and not everybody's here when I answer it, or people forget. Like it's just part of it. One of the things about my paint jobs on these vampire count minis, I'm going for relatively simple. Um, I don't want to spend hours and hours on each mini. Everything before Fnatic seems not great. I haven't been able to try it myself though. Yeah, this is newer army painter stuff. It's actually speed paint, the 2.0 speed paint. And I need to talk to some people. We're going to talk about it. Like I said, give it a little bit. We'll talk about it because, um, yeah, I have a lot. Dropping my brush. Okay. A little bit on the wood, a little bit on the rock there. Let's try to get the fur here. I like pinging people for something that can wait. Yeah, oh, that's fair. That's fair. I do have Do Not Disturb up from like 11 p.m. So no work questions after that point. Let's do some neutral gray here. Or better yet, might have where is this color? Sorry if my arm's in the screen. Oh, here it is. Maybe a little bit of red gray. Yeah. We'll start with some neutral gray and go into red gray. When you log off stream, send me a list. Yes, I can send you a list. Choch, I was thinking about that this morning. Yeah. Yep. I definitely want to. I want to give you a heads up. What I'm doing. So thank you for the reminder. I'm not sure if I'm just going to use a list I've used before or if I'm going to switch it up. I know it takes time to get your army all together. And ooh, you're going to play fixed. Okay. Don't tell me anymore. I don't want to be influenced even indirectly if I can help it. Here's how we're going to start. We're going to dry brush everything black on these guys with neutral gray. We're going to come back into the wings and we're going to give them a different color dry brush. Yeah. I appreciate it though. Yeah. I mean, after I make my list, I'm more than happy to talk to you about why you're choosing fixed and all of that and what you're planning on doing. I think I've only ever chosen fixed objectives once, and that was playing against Chaos Knights. Okay, that's a good start. It's a really good start. Let's get the underside of this. Hey, White Reaper, how you doing? Do we suffer the emotional trauma of getting behind enemy lines on turn 1? That's the thing about turn 1 secondaries, though. It's nice if you get them, but it's not a guarantee. So like, you just kind of have to write it off in your brain. Man, Choach. So I finished watching the day 2 of the War Games live stream from this past weekend, and there was the Necrons versus Blood Angels was the final game. That game was incredible, and it was a really good example of like planning ahead when you play the game. It was so good. It was so good to watch, like so satisfying. When even Joe's like, I don't know what he's doing here, like, he's not doing anything. He's just sitting still, He like literally moved nothing. I didn't watch the post game talk, but yeah, and then at that point by the end of turn 3, Joe's like, "Yep, game's over. Like this is it." The person had the one turn. He was patient. He did what he needed to do, and that was the game. He told him I could have beaten him. Oh dang, yeah, that guy's really good. That guy's a really good Necron player. Faction Space Marine's hilarious. You realize 2 of them for factions that should exist outside of. Yeah, John Locke. Yeah. I'm glad Chaos is getting that many detachments. To be honest though, 8 should be like a baseline. Like there are more than 8 ways to run any army, like lore wise, in 40k, and the fact that they're playing it off like it's a huge deal that Chaos Space Marines get 8, when Tau got 3 new ones. 3. And one of those is only for Kroot. So they literally got 2 Tau detachments. And like that's a scam. They got like 16 pages of rules. 12 pages of no, hold on, not even 16. They got 8 pages of rules. The Tau did. 8 pages of rules, and 4 of those were like rules that were relevant to most Tau players. Did Custodes get no, they got more detachments, didn't they? I thought they got like 5 or something. Did they get 4 also? I mean, I'll be honest, I don't care about Custodes. But like, Custodes, they don't seem like they have as many like variation possibilities in their play style. Like they're super limited and like very focused army and everything. Like Tau is like Tau are so much different. Not to mention, like, it's nice they put like a Xenos detachment in there, but it's only for Kroot. They revamped the Kroot. They put out a bunch of Kroot minis, which was cool. But like Tau could be so much more, and I feel like they should be. I have heard that mechanized Tau, like, was it like Breachers and Devilfish and tanks and stuff, are really good. And that makes me really happy, because that's how I like seeing Tau played. From like a 3rd edition Tau collector. I don't play Tau anymore. I don't have my minis anymore, but I always appreciated like the like mobile professional infantry mounted up and supported by weapon platforms like the battle suits. That was like my preferred idea of how Tau should play. And I was happy that GW didn't go off the deep end with the battle suits. I mean, they do have a battle suit detachment, but yeah, 6 should be an absolute minimum. 8, I feel like, is a good spot where most factions should be. 6 should be a minimum. Yeah, I agree. Tesla, how you doing? Yeah, we're dry brushing bats, giant bats, for the old world. I just keep wanting to call it Warhammer Fantasy, and I know it's not called that anymore, so. We're putting on some neutral gray, this dry brush over all these blacks here, and then we're going to come back in with some red gray for the actual like wing membrane part. and hopefully like break it up, add a little bit of like interesting color into it and all of that. I'm doing really well. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. A happy Thursday, everybody. Weekend is coming. Have a busy weekend. Guys, it is Mother's Day this weekend, so you know, if you need to figure something out, now's your time, alright? Reminds me, I watched Morbius the other day. I have not seen Morbius, and I know the memes. How many times does he say it's Morbin time? I feel bad for people. Like Morbius is my favorite comic book character, and they made that movie. Dry brush. Let's get his all the bats are actually whispering it's Morbin time. Wow, that's impressive. Imagine being credited as a voice actor. And like, oh, what did you? I was in Morbius. Oh, what did you do in Morbius? I said it's Morbin time in Bat. $422 times. Best vampire franchise? Probably Twilight. Yeah. Blade. Especially Blade 2 was amazing. Blade 1 was alright. Blade 2 is good. It's like they hit their stride. And then the third Blade movie was like way over the top. Was like too much. Interview with a Vampire. This is the one with like Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt. I can see where that gets that gets its popularity. I used to really like From Dusk Till Dawn until I learned about Quentin Tarantino and his particular interests, and I can't bring myself to watch that movie anymore. So, Vampire's Kiss featuring Nicolas Cage, not being sure whether he's a vampire, is the finest film about vampire interest. I don't think I would call anything featuring Nicolas Cage as the finest film about anything. What is his interest? All right, so Quentin Tarantino, and as soon as I tell you this, you're gonna see it in every single movie of his. He really likes feet. Kind of has a thing for feet, and the thing about From Dusk Till Dawn is that there is a scene when they introduce Salma Hayek's character, and she's like a dancer, and he literally wrote a scene with his character in the movie where she walks up onto his table, she sticks her toes in his mouth and pours champagne down her leg into his mouth. He wrote that for himself into the movie. And it weirds me out. It really weirds me out. Yeah. And then you watch like Kill Bill, and there's like the whole thing with like wiggle your big toe and all this. Like it's just it gets so weird. I mean, yeah, like normally I wouldn't care, but it makes it a really weird watch in the movie. Like I can't watch that movie without thinking like this dude just wanted Salma Hayek's feet in his mouth, and so he wrote this part for himself. And like I just see these actors like cringing at it, you know, but he's like, this is a serious plot point, guys. Yep. No, I definitely don't want that forced stuff. It makes it a weird watch. That's it. Like, listen, people like what they like. I don't care. As long as you're not hurting anybody, like, you know, you do your thing. That's whatever. It just makes that movie like really really strange to watch. Like, what? Okay, what I'm gonna do. We're done talking about Quentin Tarantino. We're gonna try to get a little too heavy on the gray, but we're gonna try to get this red gray. To these, the like wing membrane here. This brush is probably a little too big. Okay. Yeah, it's just like a very very specific and unnecessary thing to write into the movie. And then when you find out the reason, you know, 25, 30 years later or whatever, you're like, ew. Okay. That guy's kind of strange. Still think humans should have hooves. What is probably a Tau player. Yeah, we got a Tau player in the house, guys. They should be blue and have hooves. So I'm using red gray, guys, by Pro Acryl. Try to get color into here. Play World Eaters and Chaos Knights. Hey, there's not many hooves there. I guess Demon Princes. Like sand. Alright, we found the child murderer here. Not liking sand. Oh yeah, Angron does have hooves, doesn't he? Could you imagine that? Like, spend your life devoted to chaos, do everything you can to ascend demonhood, and then they give you hooves. And you're like, why? Especially if you're like Quentin Tarantino. Like, it'd be like his waking nightmare to live eternity with hooves. They all have hooves? No. No, some of them are bare feet. It's weird. No, 8-bound have boots, and then some of the exalted 8-bound have like clawed feet. I know because I have painted lots of them. Dry brushes. Or the wind, that's looking good. Looking good. It's subtle. Gets the idea across. Yeah, thank you. Written hooves into Planet Terror, yeah. A bunch of people play Liquid Tower Squads is like 20 minutes of shooting. Yeah, I mean that's like their phase. Same with Imperial Guard also. Imperial Guard are all about their shooting phase, so. It's a good joke. Okay. And Beastmen. Beastmen do have hooves. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, Talon's basically like movement and shooting phase. They do not like to be in combat. Unless you're Kroot. I don't know how that Kroot list plays, but people have been talking about how the Kroot army is good. And how it might see a lot more play as people kind of get their Kroot painted and everything. So I'm curious about that. Basically just a new faction with one detachment. What it might end up being. We're gonna get a smaller dry brush a little bit because there's a lot of these angles I can't get with this big dry brush. Sisters of Silence have hooves. Yeah. Behooves them to have hooves. Yeah, poor Beastmen. Sad mooing noises, right? You close on your house, Raja. Congrats! That's awesome. Welcome to homeownership. It's a headache and annoying, but it's yours. So my parents are coming into town, and they're going to help me install some new utility appliances. So I'm looking forward to that. Looking forward to having that stuff installed, basically. Having the work done. This red gray was perfect. Perfect for this. Hit with these storms, staying safe. Yeah, so we didn't get much last night. 2 nights ago, we had some pretty decent storms, and we had a tornado warning. But otherwise, we've been fine. I've heard there's more bad storms tonight. Yeah, and I hope everybody being hit with them is being safe, because, man. Hello. Jay, is that versus Dar? Jay versus the world. There we go. I got it. Jay versus the world. How you doing? These miniatures, when I'm done with them, when I've painted them, they are for a game, and there are lots of games that feature miniatures that you paint and collect to put on the board and play games. This one specifically is for a game called Warhammer: The Old World. It is a fantasy tabletop war game. Yeah, that involves ranking up regiments of soldiers and battling against your opponents who also have minis for the, possibly a different army. Yeah, that's what they're for. Pretty big community for these kind of games. It's a good group of people too, so it's like something you've never heard of it, and then once you hear about it, you see it everywhere. Been hoarding bits for super long. Finally started getting rid of it. I have so many bits. Zendra was trying to estimate how much money worth of bits I have, and he was saying it was in the thousands of dollars if I sold my bits. I don't know. Maybe. It's like betting. No, not at all. It's like a movement and dice games, like tape measures, dice, big rule books. Yeah, that kind of thing. No, you don't play for money. It's for fun. People do go to tournaments, so there's some like competition with it and everything. But to my knowledge, tournaments don't do like cash prizes or anything. It kind of like sours the like friendly nature of the game overall. So a little like Dungeons and Dragons. Yeah, that's normally a comparison that most people have heard about, like a pop culture comparison. Except instead of having like one character that you run around with and you fight with, you have like an army. Yeah. Tournaments here have money prize. Where are you, Tesla? They have money prizes for tournaments. Tournaments I've been to, the most they give is like store credit. But it's never like enough to be, like, man, if I win this, like I can just cheat and win, and then I'll get like all my wildest dreams come true. It's never like that kind of money. It's like $50, $100 in store credit, something like that for winning. Okay, so we got the bigger areas with this red gray. Oops, we're gonna get a smaller. My desire for GW is eventually spin off a Xenos Mercenaries book like Agents of the Imperium, recruit smaller Xenos races. John Locke, that would be amazing. Yeah, and you know honestly, they could just do that with the Tau Codex. But yeah, like a Xenos Mercenaries Codex would be great. Watch it roll in last night. Coming to the west and north of me finally got. Wow. Okay, it was bad. All right. Well, I'm glad you guys still okay. Everybody's safe. So that was that much. I find cash prizes strange because of how much we spend to participate. Yeah, yeah. It's really like yeah, it's really a lot like I don't know. Like it's like a nice little like thing. If you win, you get the you get a prize. You go buy yourself a box set. Like that's pretty much the way it kind of works in my mind when you're dealing with cash prizes. The most I ever won for winning a tournament was a I got some like cool like swag and stuff, but I got a $200 mini for Star Wars Armada. It was a Super Star Destroyer mini, and I ended up trading that in at my local store for store credit, and bought and traded it for basically $200 worth of minis, which was pretty solid. But even then, it was like, you know, here's your miniature, and my store was gracious enough to take the credit, or to give the credit for it. Kind of like Magic the Gathering, but with action figures instead of cards. Yeah, yeah, we tend to call them miniatures. Action figures very much like, you think of like G.I. Joe and stuff, I think. And these aren't like, there's nothing about these that will, like there's no like posability on these, you know, you're not able to like move them around. But yeah, yeah, we play with miniatures, put them on a board. There's dice and tactics and movement and, yeah, yeah, a lot of that kind of stuff. Nothing high, just enough to buy again something in the store. Yeah, yeah. Normally stores will take that. They'll take like the like participation fee that people pay, and they'll put that into like a prize pool, kind of. Dollars and data, dolls and data sheets. Yeah, yeah. You stream me playing occasionally, and I actually might be streaming myself playing a game this evening. It will be online though, through a game on Steam called Tabletop Simulator. Might be playing Chocho, if he's willing to stream, and if I'm able to like get everything going, because I have to working on streaming through YouTube and stuff as well. So I don't know if that's gonna be weird to set up or change up or anything, but yeah, I might be playing a game of it's Warhammer 40,000 is the game I'm gonna play, or Warhammer 40K. Yeah, yeah, we got a little league going online and having fun with it. Down. Nobody judged me though. I'm playing Thousand Suns with a friend. And you played him the other night against Sin. First time nonsense. But we'll judge harshly. $100, $20 store credit way back for winning a kill team credit. That's cool. Yeah. Like I said, it's nothing like bank breaking. Like no one's making a living off of winning tournament prizes. But it's like cool like store credit. Dry brush on his face looks really good. I'm gonna come back with this neutral gray. We're gonna try to get a little bit more on this mini. Roll dice for one unit he gave up. Are you serious? Then he can stop doing. I mean, he was playing Custodes though, which is shameful. But working to get my TTS up to snuff for Warhammer. Sweet, sweet. Well, we'll try to start a league pretty soon then. We'll try to get some more people in. And we're going to change up a little bit of the structure for it. So it's a very rigid structure right now with the league. And I'm gonna loosen that up a bit. We're gonna make it where you just find an opponent and play a game over the once every 2 weeks. And you can play more if you want. Like, I don't want to discourage people from playing, more than they want to in the league. So You paint Space Wolves? I have painted Space Wolves before. I've painted a couple Space Wolves. One Space Wolf I painted was a Terminator, and it was part of a the board game. There was a board game with like 5 Terminators, and the guy asked that I paint them all different chapters, and he's like, "I want this guy to be a Space Wolf, this guy to be a Blood Angel, this guy to be Ultramarine, this guy to be Imperial Fist." So I got to paint 5 different Space Marines. It was a lot of fun. It was kind of unique and interesting. Yeah, and then I painted one for a buddy of mine. I painted a Wolfen. It might be like in the way back on my Instagram. The Space Wolf I painted. Nobody's making a living winning tournaments, but Age of War, do we make... Oh yeah, Art of War, yeah. They can be as good as they are, yeah. People do make money from Warhammer. Obviously, like, you know, I make my living painting Warhammer, so like it does happen. It's just, yeah, like attending tournaments and winning tournament prizes is not a way to make a living. It's not shameful. It's I know you play Custodes, I know. We'll always shame the Golden Boys. Play the actual Combat Patrol box, so it was unbalanced. Yeah, Art of War makes money through like sponsors and their like coaching services, which is still weird to mine. Weird to my mind is like a coaching service for Warhammer, but yeah, they make money doing that kind of stuff, making content, those kind of things. All right, I need a color for this, and I don't want an orange. No, warm brown might be perfect. Yeah, vampires. Yep. Session Kill Team is Space Wolf themed. Yeah, you are like the antithesis to like the things I enjoy in Warhammer. Why is coaching weird? It's just strange to me. Like, you know, let me reiterate here from an earlier conversation. People like what they like. People pay me to paint minis for them, which I'm sure many people in this world find really strange. You do what you want. It's fine. It's just, it's strange to me to get like to pay for a coaching session to play like a fun game that I see as like, you know, playing with your friends. And like, you know, you go to a tournament to like, you know, have fun and hang out with people. And it's like, I'm not so much into like going to tournaments to like win, and like what do you get when you win besides like the kind of the prestige of winning? It's that's it. Like you're not like winning prizes. You're not, yeah. Again though, it's strange to me. That doesn't mean that it's bad or that it is outright strange. It's just something that I wouldn't think of like doing. So who knows? You guys want a painting dad coaching service? I'll do it though. Does make it a lot more fun. Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, yeah, it's fun to be good at things too. Yeah, that's totally fair. It's a strange concept for me. You do coach us on how to play. I'll coach you how to play too. Just you know, just need like, I don't know how much money per hour. How about a painting flat rate? You know, I do offer one-on-one painting lessons. I don't have anyone who has taken it up yet, but yeah, if you sign up through my Patreon, there is an option there to get a one-on-one. I can't remember how many lessons it is. Is it per week, per month, something like that. There's an option for that, which I might change up a little bit, but I schedule around people's times. Get the camera feed going. I'm more than happy to help you paint specific minis or help you with general techniques, those kind of things. I've been painting for a long time, so coach anyone who wants to be bad at Warhammer 40k for free. There you go. Yeah, I am not against anybody, you know, however you, again, you know, whatever you're interested in, however you spend your money, as long as you're not hurting people, it's all good. Like a tip to be bad. A little better. Trying to get rid of some of the orange that came out in this fur. Starting 40k is rolling dice. Yeah, you got to learn how to roll dice well. Yeah, if you can't roll dice well, you're never going to win. That's why Steve from Mini Wargaming is always winning all of his games, because he just knows how to roll dice. Learn to lose before you can win. Yeah. We used to have a really active Star Wars Armada group, and we'd have new people join, and we just kind of tell them, like, you know, kind of expect or prepare to lose your first like 20 games, because Armada is a very complicated game to get to like wrap your head around, and yeah, you'll lose a lot, but then it'll start to click, and you'll start to figure things out and figure out how to maneuver specific things, and yeah. Win by the dice, you die by the dice. Do you use lords on the tabletop like in Total War? You absolutely do, yeah. One big thing that you do on the tabletop, especially for the old world, that you don't do in Total War, is that heroes and lords are units on their own, you know, like they are in Total War, but they can actually attach themselves to other units. Lords for Van 3. So I currently have painted, I have a White King painted, which they have like White Lords in Total War. So there's two levels of White Lord. There's a White Lord and a White King. So undead skeleton guy. And then I also have a Necromancer painted. I do have a couple of vampires to paint, you know, as the vampire counts after all. So I'll be getting those painted eventually, but I'm working on some of the basic units. I'm not too worried about like grabbing like all the optimal stuff. I'm kind of just starting painting this army, so yeah, you can get all kinds of crazy combos. There are two levels of vampires, so there's a vampire thrall and a vampire count. The vampire count is like the big one, and they don't have they used to have three levels of vampires. There was the thrall, the count, and the lord. There's a vampire lord. That was one of the strongest like base lords in the game, like characters in the game, just by sheer power. But they don't have the vampire lords in the old world, at least yet. Probably not for a very long time. And they toned down vampires a little bit. They're not quite as over the top as they used to be. Because, you know, the whole undead thing was like trash infantry. You know, like don't get me wrong. Vampire count is still like top 3 strongest characters in the game. Especially once you like deck them out with like magic equipment and stuff, but it's just not like the stat line doesn't like dwarf everybody like the old vampire lord did. Vampire counts also tend to be one of the most expensive. What was I gonna say? But yeah, I mean it's yeah, you're all about like having an incredibly strong like characters, or like, you know, 1 or 2 really strong hitting units, and then you have a bunch of like kind of trash tier units that just kind of hold the line. Like that's vampire counts in a nutshell. Marcus Day, how you doing? Lose when Well, what's saying what supports having fun? Yeah, yeah. A lot of people lost the way of the force. Okay, all right. Yeah, the game's about having fun. That's what it is. I'm glad you're doing well, Marcus Day. Do you like the Empire? Yeah, the Empire's super cool. Yeah. I don't have an Empire army. If someone gave me an Empire army, I would love to paint them up and collect them, but no, I don't own an Empire army or anything. Uh, so there are a couple things I want to get on this guy. I really like how his face turned out. I think what I want to do though, I want to get like a light gray here, and I want to get his face just to help his face stand out a little bit. What we're gonna do, we're gonna get a small ratty brush to dry brush with. Shading on the wings is really cool. Thank you. Thank you. It's all dry brushes pretty much on this mini. It's like contrast, washes, and dry brushes. There's no complicated techniques on this mini. We're gonna do a little bit of like highlights here at the end, but one of my big, I guess, philosophies going into painting this army in particular is KISS method, keep it simple with the troops, and I can go a little bit, a little bit extra on the characters. But I have a lot of minis to paint. Warhammer: The Old World is a game where it kind of requires a lot of minis for most of the armies, and mine is probably one of the worst in that respect. So I don't want to spend my life painting my 3,000 points of undead that I have here. Got some fangs that will paint. Though I like just a little brighter in the face. And these bats are technically undead, so we'll give them the same glowing eyes that we give our other undead minis. Yeah, the Empire is one of my favorite faction to play in Total War, definitely. I have like four factions that I enjoy playing more than any others, and in no particular order. It's Wood Elves, Vampire Counts, Dwarves, and Empire. So, Vampire Counts because necromancy in fantasy games is always really cool if they get it right, and Total War does a good job with it. Dwarves, you make money. Dwarves are cool, professional army, gunline type stuff is really fun. Empire is the Empire, like they're just the classic humans, and like, humans against the world kind of thing. And Wood Elves, I always loved Wood Elves, like their aesthetic, and having like crazy troll archer army ambushing people, kind of playing the game in a whole different respect is a really fun way of playing the game. So obviously a lot easier to jump between armies when playing Total War than playing the actual tabletop games. So right now I just have my my vampire counts. We're going back with this neutral gray on the arm pieces, the arms and legs here, like the non-membrane parts of this bat. I jump armies in Total War so much. Yeah, I've played campaigns with most of the armies. So with some very unexpected campaigns that I really enjoyed. Two of them I did not expect to really like was one was Tomb Kings, playing as Cetra. The Tomb Kings have such a good campaign. I really enjoyed that one, and also playing as Tic-Tac-Toe, the Lizardman. He's really good, and he had like really good like ambush style gameplay and everything. That was a lot of fun. And that was, playing with him was actually the first multiplayer campaign I played to completion. So my buddy Killicam used to play. We used to play Total War like almost every evening. we would play, and when it wasn't our turn or our battle, we'd paint minis. So we get a lot of stuff painted, and get to play Total War and hang out. Did that a lot. We haven't really been able to do that since I started streaming. I don't know, maybe another time. I just paint a lot of minis. Also, this was back before where the game made a bunch of fixes. The devs made a bunch of fixes to how the load screens worked and like the efficiency of everything. So you'd have like 5-minute load screens sometimes getting onto the campaign map, and so we'd have all this extra time to paint. And they fixed it, which was awesome. It was amazing fix, like, to play the game. But it kind of killed our paint and play sessions because we didn't have nearly enough time to paint anymore, unless someone, which is normally me, was stuck in like a 40-minute battle, and he had time to paint. But what are some of your favorite armies, Harvey, in Total War? Right, this guy doesn't have a lot more to go. Look how they're turning out. Just contrast and dry brushes, guys. It's pretty simple overall. You get some good results. They look good on the table. That's what really matters. Okay, let's get some teeth. What colors do I want for teeth? That is a good question. I think we'll kind of stick with our standard. We'll do our dark ivory. Just this color here. Right. Real careful getting these teeth. I do want to talk about Army Painter in a little bit. I have a new experience with Army Painter speed paints. Lower teeth, okay. It has fangs. Alright. Yes, with the Speed Paint 2.0. You guys are ready. I'm happy to talk about it now. So, I was at my local store last night playing some Middle-earth strategy battle game. And, I like Total War, but everything takes so long. Yeah, I mean, I like those kind of games. Everything takes a long time. That's my kind of game.
First of all, let me take just a moment to
thank Harvey, thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. So, I get to my local store, gonna play a game in a couple minutes. I'm like, I'm gonna grab some paint. I was looking for a color, and I was looking for a color specifically for like ghouls and maybe zombies for this army. And my thought was like, I want something that looks like a dead flesh, like a really pale color, not like really saturated, but I want just like a hint of like a faded green inside that, kind of get that classic like ghoul look, and I'd be happy to use it for, for skin on like zombies and stuff. And I think that would be perfect, a shade like that. And I was like, I'll look at contrast. We have Vallejo and we have Army Painter as far as like contrast type paints at my local store. But I looked through GW Contrast, and GW didn't have anything that was really going to fit what I needed. So Vallejo doesn't. I think the Vallejo 2.0 might, but we don't have the Express Color 2.0 or anything like that at my local store yet. I don't know if it's anywhere. I think they're kind of like struggling to get things out. But so I was looking at Army Painter, their Speed Paint 2.0, and they had a color I thought was really good for this purpose, and it's called Rigor Mortis. And I will show you guys the color here in a minute and show you just how perfect this shade is. And what's nice about some of the speed paint colors, when they don't tell you the actual color on the bottle, they give you a verbal description of the, or not a verbal, like a written description of the color on the bottle, on the front of the bottle. They only do it on the colors with like weird names to them. So Rigor Mortis is one that has, a strange name. It doesn't really describe the color that much. So they tell you it's a light grayish green, which is exactly what I was looking for. And I was like, sweet. I have a light grayish green, and I can use this. So I get home yesterday evening. I was like, I want to test this color. Rook take 9, hey Tooth Factory. So I get home and I try the color and I put it on the mini. And wouldn't you know, the color is nothing like the description. Let me shake this up and I'll show you guys. Give it a good shake so we get the proper tones, not like settled or anything. Alright. This is the color. You see this like pale, like warm green, like really pale green. And it does, like, this is kind of the shadow, this is the mid-tone, that's the highlight. And I was like, this is perfect. This color is perfect for what I want. And it tells you it's a light grayish green. When you look at this color, there's like a little bit of settled pigment right there. There's a bunch of settled pigment. I shook it up really well. It doesn't look so much like a light grayish green. Like, it looks more like a khaki, right? Like a pale khaki. Yeah, I need to do that. I need to do that with Army Painter. So I was like, well, you know, when I bought the paint, all that green was like settled. That looked like this color was settled in the bottom. I was like, cool, well, you shake it up, I'll get that green color. So I shook it up really well. It's been a while, got all that settled pigment out, and I painted a mini. This mini looks like this paint and not like this. Like, you look at this, these two together, they are nothing alike. Nothing. And I had this problem with Army Painter Speed Paint, like the original Speed Paint. Like, the color Sand Golem is a nightmare. I don't understand. And then there was one or two other colors in the 2.0 I've bought so far that did the same thing, where the color does not match the label. What's up, Gosu? I'm on this rant again. The color doesn't match the label. And so this is the third time this has happened. And I'm thinking, what I'm thinking they do at Army Painter is they make these logos. They make the logos for this paint before they make the paint. Yeah, so I bought this color last night because I was wanting something like this. This is like a perfect color. I wanted like a greenish, like pale gray greenish. And this color is light grayish green. And it was settled. And I shook it up. And it's a dang pale khaki color. It is not light grayish green. Look at that. It's nothing. Nothing. I always think if I should give Army Painter a try. Yeah, this color, there was Sand Golem, and there were these the bronzes, and they're oh, resin poisoning. Thank you for the sub. I appreciate that. Welcome to the stream. Yeah, and like, you know, you buy the paints that are available. I know a lot of people that like speed paint, but is anything like the name on the bottom? No. And it's the label is so nice. It's so nice because they show you the color, they show you the 3 stages it's supposed to look like, and if it has a weird name, they describe the color on the bottle. That's perfect. But then the actual paint doesn't match this label at all. Yeah, I am not sponsored by Army Painter, guys. And if they did sponsor me, I would probably end up with the same opinions. I would just tell you that they sent them to me for free. I paid for this with my own money. And very disappointed yet again in another speed paint. And I could tell no lie. Yeah, I chopped down the cherry tree, guys. It was me. So, yeah. I don't hate this color. That's the thing. I really like this color because I've been looking for like more natural looking contrast colors. You know, like a nice khaki contrast color. This color would be great on some like khaki cloth, like some guardsmen or something. Perfect. Absolutely perfect for that. This is not a light grayish green at all. This is nothing like a light grayish green. And, you know, once again, it's like deceptive labeling on Army Painter pots. And I honestly think now that they make the labeling before they make the paint. Like, hey, we want a color called Sand Golem. And they go over to like their paint like maker, scientist, you know, designer people or whatever, like, make us a color that's Sand Golem. Here's your target. This is, you know, here, where's my Sand Golem? This is your target color. Make that. And then they give them like 2 days to make the paint, and they run out of time, and they're like, I don't know, like, let's put some orange in there. And you end up with this. Like, look at this. Look at that color. That's not Sand Golem, that's orange. You know, that's like a rust orange. and they do stuff like that. I was very disappointed in the paint that I got yesterday. So yeah, I have not tried their Fnatic paint set, and honestly, I have no desire to. Um, I want to like their speed paint. I really do. I just don't. I don't care for it. All right, we're gonna get these eyes with some of this color here. Got his nose. Let's get that out of there. Ooh, little green eyes. Something a little different. The best what? Hold on. I can't read. Experiences forum so far or with what is that word? I'm sorry, Tesla. Experiences. I'm so sorry. All right. Yep. All right. Just a misspell. Okay. My bad. I was like, hold on a minute. Yep. The best experience. Yeah. So, I love Pro Acryl paint. I use Pro Acryl paint for like 90% of what I do. They have transparent paints which make amazing contrast type paints, but they're kind of basic. They have like I think 8 or 9 of them, 8 or 9 colors, and you have to mix them yourself and like do everything yourself, which is something I don't mind doing when I'm making like some plasma to go on like a plasma rifle on a commission or something. But when I'm painting an army, it's not really like feasible for me to do because I don't like having mixed paint for an army, even if I do have a wonderful and awesome book that can keep track of all of my recipes. Like it's just too much. Too much to do that every time I paint a unit or a squad or whatever. These claws here. Some black Templar contrast. Yep, had high hopes. That rigor mortis color. I actually asked Army Painter if like join their like review and like content creator program or whatever. They probably watched like an entire stream of mine and were like, nah. Color sounds almost exactly what you're looking for. Yeah, yeah, which is nice. Like it's nice when companies do that. Yeah, Procural's another company that does that well. So their biggest mess up was with their magenta, where they made a magenta, and then they made a dark magenta using pure magenta pigment. So they have like a pure pigment paint, which is really cool that uses magenta pigment, but they had to name it dark magenta because they already had a magenta color. But you know, like that's fine. You know what color you're getting. For gold, I was recommended Vince Venturella, and his recipe for gold, I'm like, yeah, looks annoying to do. Yeah, so the liquid gold is an alcohol based paint, and you have to treat it a lot differently than like the normal colors. So yeah, if that's the gold you're talking about, like it is, yeah, it's isopropyl alcohol that you have to use, and like you can't. Oh, he has his own mix. Oh, that's cool. Okay. Let's see. Did I do all three? No, I didn't get you yet. Whoops. So I think we're gonna go ahead and do some basing. These bats and the wolves. That's more units done. The one unit I'm really dreading painting at this point are the zombies. I have 40 zombies. And I'll probably paint them like 20 at a time. Maybe even 10 at a time. Make it simple, but a lot. They're all like different. I think they're going to take more time than the skeletons did. Something else here. You know what? Let me use some orange here. Accidentally correctly magnetized Calgar's heads. Paint them like they're all burnt. Oh, that'd be pretty cool. Yeah, Miyati, I will tell you, the $9 a bottle, like you will never run out of that paint. It is literally made so you'll never run out of it. You've seen how much I paint, right? Like, I use that liquid gold almost exclusively for gold for like 2 years straight, like two and a half years straight. And I still have most of the bottle left. Because anything you put out on a pallet, like you just use like a dry pallet for it, right? And anything that dries up and doesn't get used, you just reactivate it next time you go to paint. That's all you do. Like, it's been at least a couple months since I've put paint on my palette from the actual container. Like, you just don't have to, because you just keep reactivating it with alcohol. Human nature, that's happened. Yeah. Yeah, I've definitely done that. You finish a mini and you're like varnishing it and look at it like, why does he have a giant streak of like metal across his arm? What was I doing? How did I not catch that? Ooh, some little orange there. We'll highlight those little mushrooms that are growing on that. Orange mushroom sounded interesting. Something else I should do. Let's see. You know how to pick each one's clothes? Yeah, they're just like burnt zombies. I don't know. I don't know. I want them to look cool because, you know, like zombies are like, you know, classic, right? Like you gotta have cool looking zombies. So we'll see. I was really hoping to use this cool rigor mortis color that I found. I was like, man, I could just start on their skin like that. And then, yeah. Led to my disappointment last night. I see bats but no Batman. Sorry, no. Batman is scared away at this point. That's on my buy list. Yeah, their metallic set is amazing, Miyati. Metallic set is so good. Slapping his fist. Yeah, no. Don't paint drunk, guys. Painted any superhero models? You know, I haven't. My wife painted Ghost Spider, the Marvel Crisis Protocol set, and I have a Miles Morales, but I haven't painted him yet. Had that dude for years. Zen, what's up, man? Just here ranting about an army painter again. As you do. Yeah. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, more Necrons. Yeah, their metallic set is really good. Oh gosh, yeah, someone just kill that bot, please. Have you played Tamerkin's? No, I haven't played the new update yet. No, haven't done that. Zen, kill the bot. It's not a cool green color, but mixed with Tesseract green, Gilman flesh. Interesting. Interesting. You kind of sort of AFK. Okay, dang it. All right. I don't think I can. Let me see. Yeah, just there we go. Okay, you banned him. Okay, thank you. Thank you. It was still showing up. I don't know. Restream was still showing it, so I banned him from Restream, and I wasn't sure if like that was what that did exactly. Okay. 9th edition comic troll unopened, now considered rare because of the moon. Yeah, I wanted that. I wanted that Combat Patrol, and I was too late to get it. I had a bunch of minis that I don't have. I would have been happy just to own, but also like Immortals. That Combat Troll is also way better value than the new one. It's unopened, some plastic wrap on it. Wow, that's cool. That's really cool. So I'm happy with the bats. We're going to put some basing material on. I'll show you guys how I base minis. Okay. So first thing I need to do, I use the Geek Gaming Scenics. So they have this fast drying basing glue, which has lasted me a long time, and I use their base ready material. This is like Pine Forest Path or something like that. They don't come in these containers. This is my own container that I have. So I'm gonna put this down. I'm gonna do the wolves and the bats at the same time, but first I need to pull these wolves off these stands. I put them on here. I don't know why. I was like, I need these minis on these stands. Bases like we all base. We screw up only TP. Oh no. Yeah, that needs glued on. A paint pot lid. That's bolt gun metal there, guys. Old hexagon bottle. It's a flip top too. Let's see, where's that? Right to that one. But yeah, we'll get these wolves off of here. Did a little bit to them last night and finished them up. All these new ones are dumpster fires. Yeah. Yeah, which is, it's like shrinkflation GW style. Yes, these are dire wolves. Other minis, I was painting these yesterday and finished them up last night. So we're basing all these together. These are the dire wolves here. And then we have our fell bats also. When I'm rich, you see that model holder made of pure diamond 24K? Yeah. No, man, I'll still use my paint pots. Okay, so we have all these minis. We're gonna scoot them to the side here. And go through these one at a time. And there's a bit of a process with this. So what you do, and we'll start with the bats. I have this kind of like empty use container here, and this glue, this is how this glue dries. It dries tacky. It never fully dries. So what I'm gonna do, I'll set that other part of this container off to the side. 1983 testing jar. You know what this actually is? These containers. I worked for a pharmaceutical company for years, and you know, pharma companies are known in the U.S. at least, like they give out like crap to like doctors' offices and stuff to like try to sell and promote their products, like pins and shirts and all kinds of like random nonsense. So these containers were containers for playing cards, decks of playing cards. For some reason, somebody in my company thought it was a great idea, excuse me, to make circular shaped playing cards. Reps would come in and buy lunch all the yeah exactly, yeah, that's yeah, they provide lunch a lot of the times for offices and everything. So someone made circular playing cards. Needless to say, everybody hated them. Everybody. Oh, in the Navy. Oh, okay. Oh, okay, that's cool. So everybody hated these playing cards, so they never gave them out. Nobody ever took them. So they just had a literal pallet of cases of these playing cards of these things. Each case has maybe 100 of these boxes or of these little containers full of playing cards, and there were probably 85 cases on this pallet. Well, they were clearing out this warehouse because they were moving everything third party. So I was going to lose my job, whatever. It happened. They would put this pallet of crap that the reps would give out that they had just like left over. They'd put it by the front door and say, "Hey, take what you want." So like t-shirts and pins and these playing cards. So I was like, you know what? I was like, I really like these circular containers. The cards are stupid, like they're worthless, but these little plastic containers are perfect for hobby stuff. So I took home a case. I've had that case for like 6 years now, 5-6 years. I've used maybe 30 of these and I still have 3/4 of that case. There's a ton of these things. So I literally, when I want a new one, I did this the other day when I got this stuff in, or a couple weeks ago. I took out a package, took the shrink wrap off, opened it, tossed the cards in the trash, and and I have a container that fits exactly one package of this Geek Gaming Scenic stuff. It's perfect. And you dip minis in here, and it's perfect for it. So I'll show you guys how this works. But yeah, I just dump out the stuff like it's no big deal. So it's funny. Like I get these playing cards, they go right in the trash. I don't know if they're recyclable or not, so they don't say they are, so not gonna recycle them. Yeah, the top of this container is nasty, but this is just a tacky glue here. We'll put a bunch on there. This was like $8-9, I think, for this container. I have based many armies with this material. Dead man's hand becomes the dead man's circle. Yeah. We're gonna take this stuff. We're going to get a small crappy brush, and yes, I was just using this to dry brush minis. We're gonna take our bat. We're gonna put a whole bunch of this stuff on the brush, and we're going to lay it on thick. All the way to the edge of the base. It's almost self-explanatory at this point. But we put a whole bunch of this stuff down. And once we're done on this base, we need to let it sit for about 10 minutes before we dip it in our basing material. Up here. So this works well when you're you know, working with this stuff with a lot of minis, because you can kind of make a process out of it. Right, so we have this down. All right, we'll set this mini down. We know it's 11:38 here. So we'll get the next one. Start going. Your brother's in the Navy? Awesome. It's great. Hates to be on aircraft carriers. Yeah, I feel like being on an aircraft carrier would be really cool once. You're like, wow, I'm on an aircraft carrier. This is crazy. And then you're just kind of like over it. I'd always heard from people in Navy that like you want to be on a smaller ship. Like that's the best like experience. We can always do with these rocks. They're sitting there for a while, so we can put these nice flat surfaces on top of this like shale. We can paint that. We can do that with this other one too. Okay. How does the glue taste? That's a great question. I don't know. I assume it tastes a little like it smells, and it's probably horses. But this glue is also more expensive than your typical craft glue, so it's very much a waste if you're gonna try a tasting test on this glue. Waste of money, right? Thick milk. Okay, cool. Well, that's it. So let's move on to these wolves. I actually need more glue down on this this container here. There are a couple steps after this. Like we'll need to let this dry, you know, maybe through the day, through the evening or so, and then we'll come back and we're going to seal it. And they have their own sealer, but basically it's 9 parts water, 1 part PVA glue. Just your normal, like, kind of craft glue type stuff. and you combine that with some isopropyl on the base, and it helps seal it really well. It gets that glue all the way down into all the little like recessed areas and spread throughout the capillary action. And yeah, and then it's sealed, and then I varnish the minis. So I'll paint the base rims and varnish everything. So a little bit left to go, but these should be good for tomorrow. I plan on using these in game tomorrow. Down there. Let's get the next one. Hey, Ogrekin, how you doing? Need your red recipe for a friend? Okay, okay. What's the glue for? We're putting basing material down. So it's stuff we were talking about a few minutes ago. If you weren't in here, it is a like an aggregate of different like materials that makes like a cool like scenic area, and we're putting this glue on the base. We're gonna let it kind of dry out a little bit, about 10 minutes usually, and then we'll start dipping our minis in. And I will show you when we get to that point. It'll be just a couple more minutes here. Welcome back, Zen. Yeah, this glue becomes very tacky and sticky, and so hey, Chuvon, how you doing? There, let's get the next one. Feels real good to get these minis painted. Okay, now, woke up to a voicemail. My stepdad saying he was in the hospital. Oh, wow, okay. He drove himself to the emergency room. That's crazy. Well, hopefully everything's okay. That's scary. Let's glue down. A couple more minutes on these Felbat bases. I have a question. What's your question? Tuvon, I am basing some dire wolves and fell bats for my Warhammer the Old World Vampire Counts army. Square bases are back. Grab something off the shelf to paint after this. Where some miniatures I see in hobby shops tiny compared to what people usually use in videos and stream. Different companies make different scale minis, Hellman. That's pretty much it. Different companies, different games, things are people make things different size. That's why. Strictly Warhammer. There is a Warhammer game called Legions Imperialis that uses miniatures that are a 6mm scale, or about, what is that, a sixth the size, a fifth the size of like normal Warhammer minis. Maybe it's 8mm scale. It's like a quarter the size. I think that's what they use. So you might be seeing people paint those. Well, so heroic is different. When you're talking about scale for minis, you'll talk about the size, whether it's like, you know, compared to real life. So like 1/72nd scale is like, you know, the height of a grown man is about 1/72 compared to like the average height of a real life, you know, grown man. Heroic scale is about the visibility of parts on minis. So normally you have two scales. You have heroic and is it true scale? I think it's heroic and true scale. So a true scale mini is, you know, like you sculpt the face, you know, to be in scale with, like, you know, you have a 1/72nd scale mini, or, you know, or as a lot of miniature games use, like a measurement scale. So like, you know, 32mm or whatever, which is like the average height of a grown man in the game is 32mm or up to their eyes or something. But heroic scale or true scale is like, you know, the eyes and the hands and the weapons all look like or are comparable size to what they would be in real life if that miniature was real life size. Heroic scale is means like the features on the mini are exaggerated. So the heads are bigger, the arms are bigger, the weapons are bigger. Things are out of proportion if you were to see them in real life. But in the game, they are more visible and more prominent and easier to paint. 28mm scale is a common scale to see for miniature gaming. Warhammer used to be 28mm scale. It really got away with that, and I think for the most part people consider it to be like a 32mm scale. Games Workshop doesn't really mention the scale of their game, and I think that's partly due to Games Workshop acting like they're the only company in the business, and they try to make their hobby self-contained, and so they don't, you know, it's not a scale, it's just Warhammer. Most Warhammer games are a heroic scale as well. So 40k is heroic scale, means that the weapons are a lot bigger than you would, you know, see if the mini were sized up to like a real life scale. Yeah, if you're counting back 10-15 years, you're gonna get minis that are closer to a 28mm scale. Yeah. If you look at the Middle Earth strategy battle game, Middle Earth strategy battle game is a true scale game. So it's 28mm true scale. So you'll notice that the minis look really small. Their weapons look small, their hands are small, their heads are small. that's because it's true scale, and it's more in line with a real-life scale comparison than heroic scale. Yeah, the tiny bases, yeah. Kind of glad GW got rid of the tiny bases, because every miniature was overhanging the base anyway, and it was pretty annoying to deal with. Okay, before we go on to our last couple to glue, I will show you guys. This is the basing material after sitting for a few minutes, about 10 minutes here, and you can see how around the edges of the base, the glue is starting to get a little clear. It means it's getting tacky, and this is what we want. This will prevent the material from just like sliding off the edge of the base. But we're just going to take this mini. We have our basing material, and we're going to do this thing here. You know, I actually get something out here. I have this, my metal spudger. There it is. I use this little spudger as like a scoop, and it helps control everything. But yeah, we're just gonna coat that base. We're gonna let it sit for just a second. We're watching older 2nd edition painting videos, seeing every mini overhang the base. Yeah. Smaller boxes of singular units, that the units are tiny. That is Legion Imperialis, Hellman. That is what you're thinking of, which is an 8mm scale Warhammer game. It shares a lot of miniatures with the Horus Heresy miniature game, which is a 32mm scale game. Which is why you're probably like, I see a rhino, but they're painting a big rhino, and then in the store I go and I see a tiny rhino. Like, you know, that's probably what you're seeing there. Yeah, there are like multiple dudes on a base. For like infantry, like a Space Marine squad is spread out between like 2 bases, but you buy an entire company of Space Marines in a box. It's not. Yeah, it's not like just a squad at a time. This base going, we'll get the next guy in. This is gonna be your next few minutes, just big minis in the their basing material, and I'll kind of show you after we're after the glue is starting to set here, how this looks on everybody. Very tiny dreadnought made me look yeah. Like, wait a minute. I thought these were a lot bigger. Alright, so this one's starting to dry around the sides. I'm gonna take it. Just kind of shovel all this basing material on here. Let's sit for just a second. So the annoying part about watching older, yeah. Yeah, the overhanging base, I'm glad it's done with. I'm kind of sad there's no, like, the standards of base sizing really got out of hand for GW. Just kind of all over the place. But the bigger bases are nice. We'll always use a dreadnought as a ruler. What? Please enlighten me. I don't remember this specific thing. Hey, Tabern, good morning. Let me glue on the top of this base here. Go. We can clean this. We got everybody with the glue on them. Start working our way through and getting the actual material. Gym shin time? Okay, cool, cool. Hard day at work, huh? Move you to the side. This guy. Next to bat. A brutal day, yeah. Hey, that's fine, man. That's fine. I know you've had a crazy week, so. The spacing material looks a lot better once there's like a varnish and everything on it too, so. Looks a little basic at this point. So Wolf is ready. Take him and move him around the material there. All it takes. Take off too much. Calm before the storm. Oh, okay, next week. Yeah. Smaller unit scale games. I thought a good way to remember which game menu you're looking at. Dreadnoughts usually have to be huge compared. Oh, yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah. I thought you were talking about like physically like picking up a dreadnought and using like, you know, this dreadnought is 4.5 inches tall, so we're going to put that down and that's how we're going to measure the distance. Yeah, yeah. Gotta do what you gotta do, you know. You guys missing a tape measure. What has to happen? That's all this is, just dipping these minis. This one needs a little more because he's got a big rock here. Filling his dipping fan. Yeah, yeah, of all the dipping that we were talking about yesterday. As close as I get to dipping. All right. So those are going to take their time the rest of the day to dry. We could get a paper towel. End up wiping that up, but that's fine. We can do that another time. So that's it. That's it for the basic material. We used almost nothing. This stuff lasts a very long time. Container, there it is. This stuff back. And we almost have 2 more units finished. Some of this, where the glue is thick, soaking through a bit. I think that's fine, yeah. dries out, we'll get it sealed, it'll be good. So basically 2 more units done. You finished an ogre, nice. Nice. Happy I've finished 35 minis in the past 2 days. Feels really good. Kind of progress I need. It's more minis than I finished in a year, yeah. I mean, you spent a year painting a knight, so... You posted your Ogren. Very cool. Let's take a look. Where is the Ogren? Ah, I love it. This is a classic Ogren mini. Little Ripa, yeah, any impute, yeah. Zan, I'm excited to see your Savitar in person and kill him. That's really cool. Really cool, though. What am I doing here? What are we doing next? As a little example here, this is the finished basing material. So it's on really well. Like, it doesn't just rub off. You don't touch the bases a lot, so it's not a big deal. But then this is like a almost finished skeleton. I need to waiting for a product to come in. But I have 40 of those skeletons at that step, which is great. He's ginger, yeah, ginger mohawk, yeah. What are we going to do? I think I have an idea. Yeah, okay. Put this back, and we're going to start on something else. Be right back, guys. All right. I think I know what I'm gonna paint. We're just gonna keep the ball rolling with vampire counts. So I have these guys. These guys are Vargeists. And they are crazy, bloodthirsty vampire creatures with wings. And when GW made these minis, they had to make them rank up with others on bases, so they put their wings in these like vertical positions, so they'd be able to sit next to each other without getting in the way. So that's what they did. But I'm going to paint guys next, I think. I'm not entirely sure. I have some ideas. Yeah, okay. We're gonna try to mess around with contrast colors. Man, I'm so mad about that rigor. That rigor mortis color would have been perfect. I can't believe, like, a trusted army painter. I think I'll do... See if I just can't mix something nice. I'm going to shake up some Soul Blight Gray. And obviously, look how bad that paint separates when it sits for a little bit. No, it absolutely, it's super lame. Yeah. Like, why do I have to keep feeling like I'm wasting money? It'll be a minute. I'm gonna shake this paint up really well. So I'm going to make a mix of Soul Blight Gray. Guys up there. We're going to try not to disturb all the bases. Just worked on. So Soul Blight Gray, which is a wash. A little bit of this faded green. And then some contrast medium. And we're going to see if we can't make a nice color for these guys. You know, like a gray. A gray might be a little better, like just a straight up gray. But the only like gray contrast I have they really like is Basilicanum Gray, and that definitely would not be good for these guys. Talked about magenta earlier, but when you might check out, you're looking for something really pop. 500 mils Reflex Rose. That's cool. Transparent paint. Oh. Interesting. Half-liter of paint, yeah. Like, I'm going to paint trim on this one model. I'm going to buy 500 mils of paint. How much? That's a lot of paint. This big container is only 250 mil. Like, you're getting a ton of paint. Some yesterday, and they dropped everything. They were going to make a swatch of all their pinks and magentas. That's really cool. It is really cool with them. All right, we're going to put a little bit of this medium down. And we're going to say it out loud. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4 drops of medium. Okay, and our Soul Blight Gray that really doesn't want to separate from the bottom. And 4 drops of contrast. We're going to do like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 drops of it's not contrast. This is actually a shade, but it is basically Apothecary White, but it's warm. It's warm instead of cool, so it's like a warm white wash. Yeah, he's Gosu. He's going for some kind of
thank you for allowing me back into your home.
Some kind of, what is that? It's a Yu-Gi-Oh thing. So that Soul Blight Gray wash a while ago and haven't used it. Yeah, it's Apothecary White, but it's warm instead of cool. Like, you can see the difference between the two colors. This is Apothecary White. You see how blue it is, and you see how like warm this paint is, the Soul Blight. So don't look at that, it's all separated, but yeah. All right, so 4 parts contrast medium, 8 parts Soul Blight Gray, and we're gonna put 1 drop of this faded green in here. So one little drop. We're gonna see how this consistency moves. Well, I dare say this looks more like rigor mortis than rigor mortis does. Keeping in mind that we will be doing more on these minis. Some of these out of the way. Isn't the end-all be-all color. Could probably do this out a little bit. Oh no, that's got a good green to it. It's a good green. Doesn't look so green on just the palette, but okay. Basically gonna put this over the whole mini. I'm not like too picky. We're gonna try. We're trying our own contrast paint. Problem is these darker areas. It was like zenithal. We'll get it. What's up, Grumpy Insight? How you doing, man? It's been a while since I've seen you hanging around. Been gone for a while, yeah. I hope you're doing all right. Do you have YouTube? Harvey, I do have a YouTube. Yeah, I'm actually streaming on YouTube right now. I am streaming on both Twitch and YouTube. I have a couple YouTube videos up. There's not much. There's a plan to put more up soon. So, you know, if you guys are wanting to watch some YouTube videos, you can subscribe. It's just the Painting Dad on YouTube. Nothing fancy. Couple like little battle reports, 40k and 30k, and it's just a couple random things. There really isn't much. I'm hoping to get some more content soon. A couple videos in the works that are being made. I'm actually gonna be filming stuff when I'm done with stream today, so all exciting. Always use more 30k lore. Yeah, it's not lore, it's a battle report that I put on there, but 30k is awesome. So the lore and the game. Check out more. I just found out the other day. Oh yeah. So we did. Me and Zen did a couple battles. We did 40k. It was a 10th edition in 10 minutes. So a couple 10-minute battle reports. It was a couple matches by Necrons against his Imperial Fist, but a little breakdown. It's just something simple, and we'll have more. I want to do more battle reports. I do have it in planned because you guys earned this with the 12-hour stream that I'm going to be making a battle report playing Horus Heresy against Zendral. So we'll be doing that. But no, I like that color. I really like that color. Why is that so much better than the dumb color that they made? This is their rigor mortis. Look how yellow that is. Look at all the yellow in that. You guys see that? Again, I don't hate this color. It's just not what it is. Like, look at the... Yeah, I just made a better paint than freaking Army Painter can. Yeah, so let's get these other two guys. Maybe do YouTube Shorts where the Painting Son tells the audience who he thinks will win in a fight based on the way a model looks. You jump in and crack a joke how other days sheets don't align, how scary and impressive the model looks. I'll do that. It sounds great, actually. Um, I I think it was last summer. I was doing regular streams with the Painting Sun, which we'll be doing streams here. We have a stream coming up in a couple weeks, but um, yeah, shorts are great, man. Shorts are really bad. Like, I get sucked into like YouTube Shorts just scrolling through. But the Painting Sun, man, people would ask him who would win things about like Warhammer and like real life stuff. And there was one point my 4 maybe 5 year old son at the time, he was he went on this tangent about like all these things happening and like this huge battle between ninjas and chaos warriors. And at that point we had just started reading The Hobbit, or just finished reading The Hobbit. Yeah, Choach, yeah, you're killing me, man. Just turning me into like a YouTube guy. Um, but he goes on this rant, and then he like concludes it with like in the middle of this fight, and he's like, "All right, chapter 2. This is that actually might be on my YouTube channel. That might be a video, like a Painting Sun rant or something. I may have taken and put that actually on YouTube. It was like a 15-minute thing. It was really funny just to like hear him go on, and like pretty sure Gandalf shows up in the story, and yeah, it's just like ninjas battling chaos warriors though the whole time. It was great. Yeah, just like yeah, he's just like another person who knows like all the stuff that's going on. You see, I just tell him like the things, and then he just guesses. It's like asking the painting wife to draw pictures in the painting wife streams, where she has no idea what it is, but she tries to draw it anyway, based on like the name, and maybe a short verbal description that people give, because that's what we do in painting wife streams. Also, I don't know if you guys know this, but these minis aren't wearing pants, and they're all very hairy to cover themselves. Not from the back, though. Imagine if it took off and they invited the Painting Sun onto a stat check to talk about Data Slate upgrade. That'd be great, yeah. That'd be funny. He's the one getting invited, not me. This is a Vargeist, Harvey, yes. Yep. Which, yeah, if you play Total War, you know about Vargeists, so. The minis are a little dated. Um, they have kind of strange poses, because with the limitations of the game, at least at the time, this Warhammer Fantasy was still around. They had to make sure the minis ranked up with each other on their bases, and so their wings are in strange positions, because you can't have their wings all spread out, or they won't be able to you won't be able to actually put them in formation. You're back, no problem. Yeah, they are super good. Yeah, Vargeist are really fun. Who is it starts? It's a Vlad von Karstein starts with them. Starts with the Vargeist, because I know Manfred always started with he started with the Vargolf. Vargolfs are one of the strangest things, like one of the biggest differences from the original Total War between the actual tabletop game and more here. Okay, one moment. And the video game, because like Vargolfs they're like single entity monsters and everything, which is cool, but they're small. Like Vargolfs are not like big unit destroying monsters. They're very much like backline threats, and they fly. So they fly, and they basically run around, and they destroy enemy artillery crews. Like that's what they're made to do in the miniature game. They're not like the big hulking gorilla like monsters they are. Okay, we got that. Look, they'd look good in jorts, I'm sure. Sure they would. Four drops contrast. 8 drops soul blight gray. Then 1 small drop of faded green. Go. Mix. I don't feel so bad mixing colors for these particular minis, because these are not minis that I'm painting like dozens of. I want to use this color or a color like it again on my crypt horrors and my ghouls, but we'll have to see. The ghouls I have a lot more. I have 20 ghouls, so there are quite a bit of those. Hey guys, if you're not aware, there is a painting competition going on right now. And I and the Painting Son are both judges for this painting competition. It is, you can find the details in the painting competition channel on the Discord. But ooh, the Vashtor detachment linked. Cool, cool. I'll take a look at that later, or you just tell me about it. Start typing things out. Yeah, you can enter minis. You have until the end of next week to enter a mini. So I think it's like Friday, 11:59 p.m. to send a mini. And then myself, Messy Desk Minis, there's one other gentleman I'm not familiar with, and Crucial Blue are all judging this. We'll be judging the minis live. We'll be showing off everybody's miniatures. We'll be judging the painting competition live. We'll all be streaming and kind of hanging out together. The Painting Son is going to be the X Factor judge. He's the one that's determining the coolness of a mini in the paint job, not necessarily like technicalities. There's no prize, it's for fun, just to show off some work that you have. But I do encourage you guys to jump in and try it out, and you know, the more participants we get, the easier it'll be to do this in the future. So by all means, show off some of your work. And there's a way to submit work and everything. Just look up the details on the painting competition channel in my Discord. You'll find there's a Google Doc to send things, or Google form, I think, to send photos. And yeah, ways to participate. Okay, we got this nice green color. Next thing we're gonna do, we're gonna go ahead and make another contrast paint. I'm gonna be lazy. Yeah, we're gonna start with voluptuous pink, or volupus pink. I don't know how you pronounce this actual word. Take this one. We're going to mix some, just a little bit of Black Legion. Just a little bit. Then we want purple in here. I think just the tiniest amount of transparent purple will do, because these transparent colors are very pigment heavy, very strong, very vibrant. Contract. Stress to heal. If you call your shot and kill a model. AP1. If you have a contract open. Unit demon keyword. Ignore terrain for charges. Double move on extra 6 inches. Move extra 6 inches closest nearest target. At to force. Desperate escape test on all units with an engagement. With a -1 leadership. Wow, okay. What's the what's the rule, the detachment rule? I mean, like those strats seem like pretty generic, like good, but generic. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 drops. Voluptuous pink, I think that'll work. -1 to leadership for Dark Pact rules. Wait, you have -1 leadership? You do, they have -1 leadership. Wait. +1 to wound. Okay, so it's harder to not take damage from Dark Pact. You get a bonus on your strats. Oh wow, bonus to wound and 2 to melee attacks. So for like demon engines, that could be really good. We're gonna do 1 drop of this transparent purple. And a couple drops of black. Tank treads might actually kill something, yeah. Well, I mean, man, that's really good for like Forge Fiends and Venom Crawlers and stuff, right? Six, okay. So 12 drops of Voluptuous Pink, 6 drops of Black Legion, and 1 drop of Transparent Purple. Yeah, ignoring terrain is good. Just good for charges. Like it's just an extra 2 inches, you know. Oh, but you're able to like move through it, like ignore it, like knights do, right? Is that what it is? Like you can actually move through it, like knights. Oh yeah, that's really good. Okay, yeah. Okay, so let's mix this color up. See what we're working with here. Brush can work. Brush will work. Use this brush. Contract open. If you script your Dark Pact rule, take an extra wound. You get to reroll all your hits. So that's a really like definitely like a high risk, high reward style army. That's really interesting. Okay. A little nervous how this is going to turn out. Let's take a look though. Take a little bit of this. That's a very dark purple. That is not what I wanted. 12 have 6 up, feel no pain. That's good. Okay. And enemy unit within 12 of the bearer is destroyed. You get CP on a 5+. Oh, cool. Alright. Number 4. Let's do 1, 2, 3, 4 drops of contrast medium. So 12, 6, and 4. And then we're gonna put some more voluptuous pink in that. How you doing today, Miyati? I'm doing great. Doing great. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 drops for 18 drops of voluptuous pink, 6 drops of Black Legion, 1 drop of transparent purple, and did I say 4 drops of contrast medium? That's where we are. Some more play. Yeah, hopefully they make his data sheet better. Poor dude is just terrible. It's a great looking mini. Really cool lore. He's just bad. Alright, let's try this again. Let's see. It has not lightened up much at all. Yeah, Vindicators are all good now. They're cheaper. I would print him a Vindicator. I don't have an STL for a Vindicator. I could definitely find one, but let's do more medium here. Careful not to overflow my paper here. 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. 12 drops of contrast. We're at 18 drops voluptuous pink. 12 drops of contrast. 6 drops of Black Legion. And 1 drop of transparent purple. This is all the transparent purple's doing. That's what this is. That transparent purple is so strong. I love these transparent colors, but they are crazy overbearing. All right, let's go. All right, that's a little lighter. I can probably work with that. I think I can work with that as a base color. That resin printer queued up that, yeah. Look how good that color is, though. A really nice color. A really nice purple. Bash Tour detachment sounds fun. Yeah, it's very much like a gambling detachment, right? Ooh, I like that color a lot. Not the color I was necessarily going for, but that's really cool. In this list, people are memeing over 3 Warp Smiths, 3x10 Cultists, 6 Predators, 3 Vindicators, 4 Fiend, and Hellbrute. Is that with the Vashtor list, or is that with something else? Fully armored lists are really good, though. You can do a lot with that. Oh, do you have to take Vashtor in that list? So far, none of the detachments require a character. I think they said I think the Emperor's Children one might require Lucius whenever that comes out, which I imagine they'll put that out when they put out the Chaos Marine Codex. But yeah, guys, look at that purple. Look at that. Ah, it's so good looking. We'll get these outer wings, and we'll come back and get the inner ones. The innas. one like blessing and curse about this army. I think some of the fantasy armies in general is your color scheme doesn't always just like stay what it is. A lot of variations when you have like different creatures and monsters and everything. It's kind of nice because it gives me a lot of options to mess around with colors, but it's also not nice because I can't just write down a color scheme and keep it. It'd be really funny if Vashtor is still terrible, but his detachment's really good. And you end up taking his detachment without taking him. $18, $12, $6, and 1. That's our ratio. 18, 12, 6, and 1. Obviously, we'll get a lot of paint out of this. Didn't want to have to remix it either, so. Out fine. All those infiltrators sound fun. Yeah, I mean, that sounds alright. That one honestly sounds super boring, but GW can never make Alpha Legion exciting. It's at least not with 40k. You have such a hard time giving them cool rules. They used to be an old Warhammer. Alpha Legion were like the dudes with the cultists. Because they were the ones that would use, mortal humans basically more than anybody else. And so the idea was if you were running a bunch of cultists, which were always bad, like cultists have never been like a good optimal choice. It's like, yeah, the Alpha Legion are just the dudes that run cultists. Like now, okay, infiltrating, like I'm sure it can be good. Like I can see the strength in that list, but just looks boring. Zen, did you read the Dread Talon attachment stuff this morning? They had an article about that, mainly about the box set, but they talked about the rules for the Night Lord's detachment. one more part and this guy's wing's done. Man, that looks good. That color's so good. Hmm. I have to get like the bottoms of these wings too. One more little section that kind of hangs through the fingers. They get cool reactive strats. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, hopefully they get cool stuff. I hope they're just interesting things in the game. That's all I want. Just everyone to be able to have fun, you know, while they're fighting their wars and stuff. Oh no. Okay. Mistakes were made. Corrected. Read this detachment. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and if that Vashtor detachment leaked, the others are all going to leak here soon. Probably within the next, like, 24 hours or so. Alright. One set of wings down. With this amazing color. Let's get the other two. His wings are nice and spread out. That's good. Good to see. Natural seems broken on paper. When you dark pack, you get lethals are sustained, and you get +1 to hit Yeah, you're talking about the yeah, Vash Torn. Zen, did you see the Night Lord's detachment rules? They're not all leaked, but there is an article about the Battle Force box, and they talk about the detachment. That article. They mentioned like an enhancement and the the detachment rule, and that's about it. But yeah, the total rule is was it enemy units within 12 inches or minus one, or no? Yeah, they're -1 to battle shock tests. Yeah, it's like the lamest thing, right? There's gonna be need to be some heavy lifting from enhancements and stuff. All right, next wing. Am I missing out the demon keyword? I don't know. Is there a contract without the keyword? Without that keyword. 5-phase vehicle only if you invoke contrast, you destroy a model. 5 plus you. That's a really bad one. For a CP? For a 5 plus to regain a wound? It's a crappy strat anyway. Outside edge, and then we'll grab inside of these wings. Then we can move on to the last one. All right. Insides of these wings are probably fairly difficult. It says if you invoke a contrast and you destroy a model. It is for each model you destroy, you regain a wound? Okay, I mean, that's not bad. Up to 6 wounds. Alright. Maybe the demon keyword is like the psychic keyword. Doesn't really do anything except make other people good against you. Brute, Vindicators, Predators, Land Raiders, you have 1 CP tax for using this strat. Interesting. So weird brush angles that I can't see. Okay. Cool. That inside of the wing is done. Get this other side. Guys, thanks for hanging out today. Appreciate you guys coming in, lurking or chatting about nonsense or, you know, whatever it is. Appreciate it. I sure get some aura that gives friendly vehicles and 6 inches demon keyword. I doubt that. I don't know. Alright, you enjoy your meetings, Choach. Hopefully they go quick and they're painless. I was listening to the Poorhammer podcast, and it was the one with Bricky in it. They were talking about the data slate. They were talking about the demons and how it's really strange that there have been no like mono god chaos factions announced for codexes. And he voiced his opinion or his hope that that they end up doing like mono god books instead of a Demons of Chaos book. So instead of a Thousand Suns book, you have a Codex Zinch or whatever. Or maybe it's Thousand Suns, but it comes with all the Zinch demons in it as a codex. Then you can do one for Um, for Nurgle, Korn, and Slaanesh. You have them with their respective units, and you end up with just a just mono god books, which I like that idea. I don't know if that's going to happen, but I like that idea. Demon players might disagree with me, but as long as you can take, full demon armies and stuff, it'd just be weird alliances. But I always thought it was weird with the Chaos Gods allying with each other anyway in game as much as they did. You're kind of like cherry picking units. I was never a big fan of that.
First of all, let me take just a moment to thank you.
Hey,
for
Puppet
allowing me
Master,
back
thank you
into
for the
your home.
follow. With wonder if you use. Yeah.
First of all,
Yeah,
let me
I
take just a
enjoy
moment
that
to
when
thank you for allowing me back
when it's
into your
like
home.
they give you the full option just to do like the mono god books. I think that's cool. All right, cool. We got one more set of wings here. Bobo5240. Thank you for the follow. Welcome in, guys. How are you guys doing? Hope you're all having a wonderful day. I'm here painting Vargeists, or a vampire count army for the old world. Color I'm using right now is a big mix of colors. It popped up, figured I had to check it out. No, thank you. I appreciate that. I chill and paint. That's what I do most weekdays. And also Sunday evenings most of the time. I am streaming, but yeah, I'm a full-time commission painter and I guess a full-time streamer, so just trying to chill and get things done. These minis are my own. I did finish a commission just yesterday. I figured I'd take a little bit of time and work on some of my own minis before I get into the next one. Making one to dust off my old models. Nice. What kind of minis do you have stored away? And I take it you're not currently in any kind of Warhammer games from the sound of it. I was an old Warhammer Fantasy player back in the day. I play way too many miniature games, but Warhammer Fantasy was one of my favorites. That obviously went away. It was all put in the dumpster for Age of Sigmar, so I was very happy when the Old World came back out. And I kind of waited to be enthusiastic about the Old World until I started seeing how the rules were going, and then I wanted to see how the vampire counts looked as a faction, because if there was one faction I was going to start, it was going to be vampire counts, because I'm always a huge fan of the necromancer raising the undead faction in fantasy settings. So that's what I was. I really enjoyed the look of the rules, and I enjoy the excuse me. I enjoy the models, especially the AOS models for Soulblight Gravelords work really well. Fantasy vampire counts, so that's what I'm doing. Painting on minis. I finished a good 13 of them earlier today. There's 10 direwolves and some fellbats. Excuse me. Used to play fantasy back in the day. Got some greenskins, some Chaos Undivided, and Tomb Kings. Nice. Good choices. Yeah, all of those armies are playable in the old world. The 3 armies you picked are 3 of the main armies in the game. So vampire counts kind of got pushed to like a legends status where they're not official, but everybody still treats them as official. They're just not going to get like model releases and stuff for probably a very long time. Yeah, Tomb Kings and Greenskins have new army books out already. I'm sure Chaos Undivided won't be too long. Fun playing again. Haven't played a game in 10 plus years. Dang. Yeah. The rules are really solid. I recommend you check out watch some people play on YouTube or find just like a read up of the rules. I kind of got out of fantasy when 8th edition came around, which was probably around 10 years ago at this point. I didn't like how those rules like worked. The game went in kind of a weird direction. The old world rules that just came out at the beginning of this year are very much reminiscent of like 6th and 7th editions with like a lot of like good improvements. Yeah, so if you did not like 8th and you liked, like 6th and 7th, I think you'll like the old world a lot more. So they changed a lot of things. It's been more than 10 years since there have been any rules for Warhammer Fantasy. So there are a lot of change ups, but it seems like good changes for the most part. The weirdest one is how they changed up magic. Magic is a lot different. There's no more like magic phase in the game. Magic is still very strong.
Let me take just a moment to thank you for allowing me back into your home.
And very prevalent. It's a lot different how it works. War Judge, thank you for the follow. Rinse or brush, get this last bit of wing, and we'll be done with the wings on these guys. At least done with the base color. I really like this color that I kind of made. Really good. This wing's going to be tough. Very strong magic. Yeah, so magic isn't like, it's not overbearing like it used to be. Like, I know, like, 7th edition Warhammer was wildly unbalanced as codexes came out and everything, but it's not like that. I'd say it's strong, but it's like a little more muted. It's weird to explain, but you cast magic within the phases of the game that exist. There are a couple spells where people are like, wow, these are really strong. There are no spells that will just wipe out a regiment of troops. Like, that does not exist. Even like vortex spells and everything. Yeah, you're playing Mazdamundi. Yeah, he probably had a really strong magic phase. I don't know how lizardmen are in the old world. I haven't looked through their rules. It's chicken. This is not a chicken, Fraser. How you doing, though? Don't insult my vampire creatures like that. All those chickens you see with their purpley, leathery wings. Terrifying. A lazy day. Okay, nice. I remember I played against lizardmen once back in like 7th edition, I think. And yeah, it was rough. Just strong magic. Painting Necron's unfun now. Why is it unfun? pain to play against. Yeah. Yeah, I recommend you look up some battles. A good channel I really enjoy to watch Warhammer battles is a channel called Mountain Miniatures. A guy named Steve who works for, you may remember them if you watched YouTube back in the day, but a company called Mini Wargaming, who are still around. Steve has his own channel that is focused on Warhammer Fantasy mainly. And what's nice about his channel is it's kind of twofold. One, it's people like having fun. They do a lot of live streams, but they'll re-upload. They'll upload their like recordings and stuff to, so you can watch them later without like a lot of the banter and everything and the like chat discussions. But they look like they're having fun, and Steve is really good at the game, so he understands how the game is played. And you'll see them like him. It's normally him and a guy named Luca, and they'll kind of explain why they're doing things and like how things work. And there's a lot of like talk just like while they're playing that like helps the kind of the game flow. And yeah. So it's interesting to watch for that fact. Sorry, I'm picking out a color here. Let's see. I am done with the wings, guys. I want to just make sure we got front and back on all of the wings. Their arm piece. Yep. Okay, let's get him out. Look how that dries. Look at the detail, the texture on that. Really good. Really good. Homemade contrast for the win. But yeah, it's nice to see people who know the rules. They will play, they won't play like the most optimal list. They'll play stuff that looks like fun, which is also nice, but they play it well. And they'll explain to you what they do. Normally, I like to watch people that know what they're doing. You know, like I'm fine on like normal battles, like watching people playing, like, you know, for fun and like playing fun things. But sometimes it hurts when people like make a decision and it's like obviously the wrong one. And even if they do that in Mountain Miniatures, like they'll explain like, yeah, this is not the optimal way to play, but you know, we're doing this because like it's the theme of my army or whatever. And they'll like kind of go through like what they would do. Armies are fully painted. They have like, I think every army in the game they have miniatures for. Or that makes sense is way cooler than pure min-max. Yeah, and normally with any game, like min-max armies always look goofy. Okay, is it shaking up yet? Not yet. Oh, this contrast paint. Some of this stuff. It's that white pigment. Whatever that white pigment is, it separates so bad. It just settles. Yeah, it's got to make sense. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so some minis I finished painting these today. The basing is still drying on them, but I painted these fell bats here. There's a fell bat I'm sure you saw before. Here's a, see him in the background there. Another fell bat. And then these dire wolves. I painted these. I started on these yesterday. The dire wolves I had a little bit of work done before yesterday, but the fell bats it was yesterday and today. I painted. They were really quick to paint. I have let's see. This is my White King here. So this blue is kind of the main uniform color in my army. Just you don't see the uniforms on any of these night creatures, but this is my my White King. I painted him really quick. I have a skeleton warriors. The skeleton warriors aren't done. The shield, I'm gonna put verdigris on the shield. It's like a green like tarnish on the bronze shield. But I'm waiting for a specific product to come in called Noosh by Monument Hobbies. And it's basically a weathering medium. It's like a strange like water-based weathering medium. So I'm gonna mix that with some like green verdigris paint, put it on there, and I can wipe it off, and it makes it look like it's like properly weathered. So Otherwise, these minis are done and based and everything. So there's some minis I've finished. I've been kind of working on these guys a little bit the past 2 weeks. Get them all together here. Let's get some of this Basilicanum Gray. I'm trying to mess with contrast paints. What I'm working with a lot. Contrast paints are like they're like tints almost. If you've been out of the hobby for a while, you might not really understand about like it's a whole new thing. Came out, I don't know, maybe what, 2020, 2021, something like that. But contrast paints are kind of a big deal. There are a lot of companies make similar paints, but they're basically just tints. We're gonna do the hair on these minis. We're gonna do it with Basilicanum Gray. Yeah, they're tints with these fun properties that gonna seep into the recesses and darken it while keeping like kind of a highlight on the surface. And for this army in particular, I'm using it as like my base colors to get like a really nice base color layer. And Fraser, you're done. You're tired of painting metal. Is that the case? That's just what it is. Because I understand. I've painted a lot of Necrons. Yeah. Well, you get something else, and you do a bit of a palette cleanser is what that is. Especially if you're working on an army, it's important to have something as like a palette cleanser. I gotta paint this dude's like cubes, which is weird. Since you got old undead, once you do have some of the old generals and stuff, I used to. So I actually used to have a vampire count army way back when, like back in like 6th and 7th edition. I played vampire counts. I sold my army years ago though, along with everything with it. So I wanted to get back in the vampire counts. I got some really good like trades where I got a bunch of vampire count minis for free, like the newer stuff. And so yeah, I figured I would just go ahead and collect the army again. So none of the old stuff right now, but Death Alliance, but on square base, yeah. Oh, what you want, man? They're vampire. They'll always be vampire counts to me. My Halloween themed creatures. Love to see some old Vlad mod. Yeah, I had my favorite mini I used to have. I had two really cool ones. I had Conrad von Karstein, which I loved. He has his two swords up, and he's like blood drops. Like he has an open mouth, and like the blood drops are falling into his mouth. Really cool mini. And Conrad is an absolute madman. And I had a mini, not Vampire Count specifically, but it was a Dogs of War mini, and it was Richter Kruger and his cursed company. That's what it was. And it was an undead dude who was cursed by a necromancer that he would never die. And every model he kills, like, it's added to his like regiment of like mercenaries. So he goes and fights, and then every model he kills in the game, you resurrect a model in your own unit. But also like the minis were great. Like his model was really good, and then there was like undead dwarves and orcs and goblins and Skaven and all kinds of cool stuff that were in his regiment. Yeah, those are some minis I regret selling, definitely. Who doesn't want to be a vampire? Exactly, it's so cool. Yeah. And avoid brush marks with contrast paint. Yeah, when you put contrast paint on smooth surfaces, you'll get the brush marks. The best way to use contrast is on organic surfaces, because there's no space for the brush marks to appear. You know, it's all kinds of like texture and things for that paint to kind of grip and to sink into. I have a Grimgore model. Oh, nice. Yeah. I think they no, I don't think they released they re-released the Grimgore model. The old world is like a weirdly like earlier setting than what the last time you would have seen Warhammer Fantasy. But yeah, that Grimgore model was awesome. That was always a good mini. And Grimgore is just super cool too. I remember actually seeing his rules for the first time because none of my friends actually played Orcs and Goblins. But I remember seeing his rules and I was like, this doesn't make sense. This dude is like 800 points. What does a random orc on foot have any business being 800 points? It's ridiculous. Like, and I don't even think it was overcosted. He was powerful. The dude was strong, but it was just like to me an 800 point character is like a dude on a dragon, you know, or like a giant monster or something, and you have just this orc with like a, you know, an axe and like some decent armor, and they're like, yeah, he's this many points, but like I think he kind of lived up to it. Special characters never super good, like way back when in Warhammer Fantasy, but
First of all, let me take just a moment to thank you for allowing me back into your home.
Big D Charity, welcome. Welcome to the stream. Why does this dude have like a split mohawk? Like mohawk back hair. I need to use myself for that new AOS game type. Oh yeah. That's the like the spearhead or something, right? With the box sets. I have never played Age of Sigmar and I've never like had much interest in it. But I've been following the previews a little bit. Cool. Rubric form. Welcome in, by the way. In fact, he could stack up to dragons. Yeah. Grimgore is just an absolute monster. His lore's complete bonkers. Yeah. First layer contrast paint. Yeah, for the most part. Both his skin, for I have a unit of 3 of these guys. Their skin and their wings are a mix of contrast medium, and either some regular acrylics from Pro Acryl or transparent paint from Pro Acryl. So there's a little bit of variety going. I couldn't quite get the colors I wanted, so I had to make them, which I'm normally against, especially for like non-hero troops. But I figured I'm not painting a lot of these, and since I'm painting on stream, I can just yell loudly in the mic with the actual colors and ratios I'm using, and I can go back and use it later. Say, why am I getting pop-ups? What is this nonsense getting pop-ups on my tablet? This has never happened before, and it's happened twice today. And I am a little upset. What does contrast medium do? So contrast medium thins out contrast paint without making the contrast paint lose its actual contrast properties. And it's really nice for like normal acrylics or washes or things like that you want to have a bit of contrast property of like that soaking into the recesses, kind of highlighting the like raised areas. It helps with that as well for just normal paint or transparents or washes. It's nice. Yeah, it gives it more fluidity. Yeah. It doesn't make the paint thinner. Contrast paint is already the same consistency as the medium, because I think a lot of contrast paint is a liquid pigment in the medium. So like it's not, you're not like getting extra, like flow out of the paint, but it thins it out, and it'll give normal paints more, I guess, more fluidity. You can put it that way, normal acrylic. Yeah, this is all it is. Like it's not like a super thin hero, but it's good. It's good if you don't want a color to be quite as strong. And when you're working with Games Workshop contrast, their contrast is very strong and vibrant. So sometimes you just want a paint that, alters the color a little bit, or doesn't quite give you as strong a color. So that's what I use it for. But I'm going to come back to this purple because I noticed in these here there's some spots I missed. I'm gonna paint these, but I don't have a clue how yet. Yeah, I'm kind of figuring out as I go as well. What I did was I looked up a picture of these miniatures on the just on Google. I just found Google Images. I just looked up Vargeists. That kind of guided me. I wanted something a little more red, but once I started putting this color down, I really liked it, so I decided just to roll with it. There's room for dry brushing and highlighting and everything afterwards, so not too concerned. He needs a Brazilian. He does, yeah. These dudes are, or ladies, I don't know. I'm gonna assume. Yeah, they're not very modest, but fortunately they have a lot of hair where it counts, I guess. No. Yeah, ever since I saw these minis for the first time, I always thought they were like really, really strange. We can paint some claws on these guys. The claws, we can get their teeth. Let's get their teeth, because why not? A little brush. Gonna make it happen. We got about 30 minutes. Make the most of our time. These are some pretty cool ones that were made. Oh, nice. Nice. Yeah, sure. You can post the link. Cool, yeah, 1 minute. Paint these teeth. My son has a Tamagotchi, and when he's gone, it makes noises all day. And I have no idea how it works. My wife does, but I think there's a way to silence it, and I think they forgot to today. So I just hear this poor creature dying in the background because it's so hungry. Throw it out. Yeah. Oh, yeah, those are really cool looking. Yeah. Those are very similar to, except for the red hair. The black hair on them is different, but I like that color palette. It's very similar to the Total War versions of these. It's really nice though. I think what I'll end up doing is I'll get a dry brush. I'll try to highlight inside of these with a dry brush. See if I can't add just a little more interest in the color while keeping that shadow. We can get some claws. Let's get some of these claws. We're gonna do dark neutral gray. Yeah, this Tamagotchi is Grogu. Because they have Star Wars Tamagotchis now. Gross, yeah. Yeah, they do have Star Wars everything. I think they have a Grogu and they have an R2-D2 Tamagotchi. My son bought it with his own money though, so no, he wanted it. He wanted it that bad. He got it. Get the R2-D2 crock pot, yeah. Be probably the crappiest crock pot you can buy, I bet. And they had Star Wars themed oranges at the grocery store. Do you believe that? Star Wars branded oranges. I remember seeing that around the time like sequel trilogy was coming out. Was it even in tail? Yeah, it was Star Wars packaging on a bag of oranges, like a little mesh bag of oranges. And they're just like, yeah, Star Wars. Is that good for his claws? I think so. We'll definitely have more we'll do with him soon. Get one more color after this. Zen, did you watch Tales of the Empire yet? I forgot to ask you about that. Dang, yeah, it came out. It came out on the 4th. It's really good. It's the same as the Tales of the Jedi. Like, takes 2 characters, it gives them each 3 episodes. They're like 3 shorts. And that's it. But they're good. It like fills in, fills in gaps. the second one. Let's get the claws on the third one. Hey, really random things then about on my chat is my tablet hasn't frozen once today. I haven't touched it. I haven't refreshed it at all today. And normally I refresh it just to make sure it's not going to freeze. I did that some yesterday, but it never froze on me, so maybe it really is just like the Twitch dashboard that freezes after so long. Right, yeah. Literally locks up my tablet. No one's talking on it. Hey, Pluto Pierre, how you doing? Welcome in. I'm doing great. Getting a lot of stuff done today. Having fun painting vampire counts, so it's nice. It's been a really good day. Okay. I think what I'm going to do, we're going to work on the wings a little bit. Restarting Warhammer. Got myself Bellacore and the Dark Oath Army set. Oh, cool. So you're jumping into Age of Sigmar. The color I want to do, very nice. Trying to think of some colors here.
First of all, let me take just a moment to thank you.
Hey,
for allowing me
Shagalit,
back
welcome.
into your home.
Thank you for the follow. Be a little too dark. This magenta might be the color to go from just dry brushing. It's like a highlight. Yeah, that's great to hear though. It's always nice to have people, you know, jumping in the hobby and everything. 40k, I might also get the Cadian Army set and a Valkyrie plane. Oh, very cool. Yeah. Imperial Guard are awesome, or Astra Militarum, or whatever we're calling them these days. I could do this faded plum. I'm gonna do the faded plum. I think the faded color is probably a little more appropriate. Nice. So I don't play Age of Sigmar, but I play 40k. I play getting into Warhammer: The Old World, hence the square bases on these minis. Middle Earth strategy battle game. I play Warhammer 30k. As well as a couple non-GW games. Okay, right. Got something to it. Faded plum for the win. I love the color purple. I do not get to use the color purple enough. I should use purple as my color for my entire army instead of that blue. Or to use that dark plum as a base. Yeah, so these are technically Age of Sigmar minis now. They were originally made for Warhammer Fantasy. If you're familiar with that game, that may have been before your time if you were playing 3 years ago. But Games Workshop brought back Warhammer Fantasy, which is their square base, rank and file fantasy game, their fantasy setting. And yeah, that's what I'm collecting to play. See, I got these from an Age of Sigmar start collecting box. Yeah, these are Vargeists, what they're called in Warhammer Fantasy. Yeah, it's square bases. The square bases are because units they rank up into regiments, like rank and file, and so the game is a lot like it's a lot more based around like maneuvers and movements and getting flank charges and stuff, kind of like old medieval battles, where you're using formations of units and things like that instead of everybody kind of running off in like squads on their own. Square bases for life. What are you talking about, man? Square bases are way better than circle bases. Fantasy minis, that is. Yeah, so if you've ever seen these minis before, these particular minis, yeah, I had to buy them separate. I found a third party that sold them really cheap. Games Workshop sells bases, but in true Games Workshop fashion, they charge tons of money for them. But have you ever seen these minis before, and you see them for AOS, and you wonder why they have these weird narrow poses? It's because they were originally made for Warhammer Fantasy, and they have to be able to rank up. They can't like interfere with each other. If you can't put the bases together, they can't, they don't work. So that's what they were originally made for. Yep, I have dire wolves here. They're painted. The basing on material on them is just drying. And I have some fell bats. Basically, Soul Blight. Yeah, so they're a mix between Soul Blight Gravelords, Flesh Eater Courts, and the ghosts, or the Night Haunt, I think is what the ghosts are called. So you have to understand when Age of Sigmar came about, they killed Warhammer Fantasy and they made Age of Sigmar. What they did with Age of Sigmar is they took factions from Warhammer Fantasy and they split them into multiple factions based on like themes of units. So the vampire counts were like a lot of the undead. There's also Tomb Kings, which are like Egyptian undead that don't exist in Age of Sigmar, but they took like all the ghouls from the vampire count army and they put them into the Flesh Eater Courts. And then they took all the ghostly units, the ethereal units, and they put them into the Night Haunt. And then they took the the skeletons and the wolves and the vampires, and they put them into the Soul Blight. I think they were called like Death Rattle or something. They had a different name for a long time. They ended up becoming the Soulblight Gravelords. Yeah, Tomb Kings are back. They're back for the old world. So, square bases and all, you can play Tomb Kings. They got their whole army out. Some of this on the inside of the wing here. Yeah, they did with a lot of factions. They did with the dwarves too. Is where you have like the Slayer guys as like an army, and when like Slayers were just a small part of the dwarves in Warhammer Fantasy. Okay, we got their wings. Let's get this last guy's wings. I think I'll stick to AOS. That's fine. Yeah. Really cool. People like different things. You got lots of options. So I was never a fan of Age of Sigmar, so I am more than happy to jump back into Warhammer Fantasy. So Dark Oath isn't a thing. Those models, though, are updated models of Chaos Minis called Chaos Marauders. So there's Chaos Marauders and Marauder Horsemen. And you might recognize those kits in Age of Sigmar. But yeah, they were a part of the Warriors of Chaos faction. One company you told me about specifically turned me down. I'm trying to think of the company. I can't think of the specific company. I'm sorry. That sucks, though. Sorry to hear that. Zen, I may have an actual company I can give you some information on. I need to look up the company, but I know via our local game store, the guy, he might still be, I don't know, it's been a couple years, but he might still be like in charge of the like running the entire like state basically for the company, like their whole plan. But it's an IT company. Oh, the plane company. Okay, yeah. Dang, that sucks. Look a bit like Norska. Yeah, because it's that's kind of what they're for. Yeah, if you play Warhammer Total War, you understand Norska as a faction. Norska is not a faction of Warhammer Fantasy. That was like an extra thing made for the video game. Yeah, those Dark Oath minis would make great Marauders for the old world, though. They definitely work in the setting. They expand Dark Oath range so I can play Norska style. Yeah, that'd be cool. Some like Famir type stuff. The Famir and the like ice wolves and everything, and those kind of things like the Total War has. All right, we got this little dry brush highlight on these wings. Things are base coated. I think my next step is putting a wash on the skin. I want to put a really light wash on the skin and the hair, I guess, on this mini, and avoid these wings. So we're gonna do that, and then we can come back and highlight the skin. I think is what I need to do. A little bit on the hair, but these guys won't take super long at that point. It's just those wings take a while. That's the only thing that was taking a lot of time, but we got a good start on these minis. So we finished 13 minis today, which is nice. I finished 22 minis yesterday, so we got a lot done. And then yeah, we're working on these next 3, so that's really cool. Bellicor and Dark Oath in the same army. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if you can either. Yeah, good luck with that. So we are going to call it a day there. And yeah, I am not streaming tomorrow. I will be on Sunday night, 9 p.m. Eastern. We'll be spinning the wheel of minis. That's what's going to happen. So we'll see what kind of crazy thing that I have to paint. And then I'll be on next week. Schedule will start getting weird next week, but we'll talk about that when we get there. So yeah, with that, you guys have a wonderful afternoon and a wonderful weekend. No, we won't bother today. It's fine, Zen. I'm gonna figure stuff out this weekend, and we'll get back to the normal like rating and figure out how we do all that next week. So, but yeah, you guys have a great weekend, and I will see you all on Sunday. Bye, everybody.